Autopilot helps us survive, but intentional living helps us experience our life. When we slow down and pay attention and become more aware, we start reconnecting with ourselves. And yes, sometimes that awareness brings up emotions, but those emotions are often part of the process of healing and growth. The more we let our body know that it is safe now, the more freedom we create ourselves to move forward. Welcome to the Balanced Fit and Free podcast. I'm Rayanne Mullins, and this season we're talking about the deeper side of wellness, mental health, emotional patterns, self-awareness, alignment, and what it truly means to live well from the inside out. Because real health isn't about perfection. It's about becoming stronger, more intentional, more authentic, and more free. Let's get started. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Balanced Fit and Free podcast. I'm super happy that you're here. And I want to tell you a story. Well, it's not really a story. It's just something that I heard recently that kind of opened my eyes and gave me a little bit of lit a fire under my tush, if you know what I mean. So I heard somebody say recently that if you're 50 years old and you expect to live, let's say, around 80 years old, that you may only have 30 summers left. And I was like, 30 sounds good. But actually, when you think about it, though, when you think about all the years that you're still active and healthy and really able to travel and hike and explore and do all the things, that actually reduces the number a little bit. I mean, I hope that I'm super active and healthy a really, really long time. But being realistic, I don't know that I could keep up my current lifestyle with my activity and the hiking and the exploring and the things that I do. I don't know that I can do that till I'm 80, right? So let's say that gives me 20 to 25 summers left. And actually for me, it's not even summer. I mean, summer's fine, but I love the fall. And when I think about, oh my gosh, I only have 20 to 30 good years or good falls or autumns left, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to get thinking about how I'm going to spend each one, and I'm going to appreciate it more. Or you could say how many Christmases you have left, or whatever's important to you. When you put it that way, it's like, oh, I'm going to pay attention a little bit more to my life. So when you hear this, you might think, wow, I need to slow down a little bit. I need to notice the sunset more. You might think, ooh, I really should call that friend that I've been meaning to call, or my brother, or my sister, or, whatever, my parents. You might think, shoot, I better take that trip that I keep saying I'm going to take that I never take, right? No one actually tells us when these moments are going to run out. It's like, I can assume I'm going to live to 80 plus because I think I will, but I don't know. I mean, we don't really know, you know what I'm saying? You could get in an accident, something could happen. So unfortunately, we spend a lot of our life living like we have unlimited time, and we just don't. We rush through our days. We postpone our joy. We say, oh, I'll do it later. And before we know it, years have passed. And that's exactly what autopilot living looks like. You might be functioning, you're getting your work done, you're paying your bills, you're having fun occasionally, but you're not fully experiencing life when you live on autopilot. And so today we're going to be talking about how to wake up from this autopilot living and start living more intentionally. And really, that's the whole point of my entire podcast. That's the entire point of why I love to help people feel better is I want people to really experience their life, love their life, and just make the most of what time you do have. And so I love it. And I hope that this will inspire you to just take a moment and think about what you're doing and what you can do a little bit differently. All right. So many people that are living on autopilot, wake up, go to work, or even if you're not at work, you probably just do mundane tasks, laundry, clean, whatever, complete your routines, basically. We spend a lot of hours scrolling our phones, watching TV, and then just repeat the next day, right? So have you ever been driving somewhere and you get there and you're like, holy cow, I don't even remember getting here. I don't even remember driving here. That's kind of scary, right? Or have you ever gotten to Friday and you're like, how is it already Friday? I swear it was just Monday. Or have you ever just thought, is this really my life? Is this really all my life is going to be? Right? If you're feeling any of those things, that very possibly could be that you're stuck in autopilot. Okay. But when we live like this, we often feel disconnected. We can feel bored, uninspired, burned out. People around you might annoy you, like just kind of irritable sometimes. And basically like life is just passing you by. So autopilot can keep us, yes, functioning, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are really living fully, okay? Autopilot, the term autopilot actually comes because that's a function, obviously, in an airplane. Autopilot helps, keep the speed of the airplane going, the altitude, and even the direction that the plane is going. And when a pilot puts the plane on autopilot, they can do other things. They can like work on their next plan or like the flight plan, watch the weather, do that kind of thing. When I was young, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but our dad was a pilot. And so we would go flying with him all the time. And I remember so many times being with him and he'd be like, all right, I'm going to take a nap. You take over. And he would like go to sleep. I don't think he was really fully asleep, but I would be like, what? I'm flying? But I didn't realize it was on autopilot. And then one day I finally realized, oh, wait, there's something, this autopilot he's talked about, it's on. Anyway, that's the real autopilot, right? But autopilot is something that our brain in our life does to conserve energy and to protect us. Okay, so it's kind of like autopilot in an airplane. It keeps us going the same direction. It keeps us at the same speed. It keeps us just going, and it helps conserve energy because we're not really having to think that hard, So our brain loves this because our brain loves habits and routines because they just make life easier. But sometimes we get so used to our routines that we stop asking important questions like, this is a really important one. Am I even happy? Does this life reflect what matters to me? Do I actually want to be around the people I'm around? Do I even like what I do most days? Am I choosing this life or am I just continuing it? Okay, those are some important questions to ask yourself. So autopilot often looks like staying in jobs that we don't even like, repeating unhealthy patterns, disconnecting from your emotions. That's a big one. Filling in time with distractions, continuing relationships and friendships with people you don't even really connect or align with anymore. These are all ways that we get stuck in a life that is just so-so, and not amazing. So people may feel like they're just going through the motions, okay, instead of truly living. So let's take a moment to talk about something that I think is really cool, is the miracle of being alive. Okay, so hang in there with me for a minute. This is really an incredible reality that we forget. When you are on autopilot, right, and you're just being, and you're just going through the motions every single day, we forget that being present and being like right here, right now is a gift. And when you stop to really, really think about it, the truth is almost unbelievable, okay? You are a living, breathing human floating on this planet through space. Like, just take that for a moment. Like, do you ever just stop and think about that? Like, how are we even in this thing? How are we breathing? Like, how are we actually staying on this planet that's spinning through the universe? I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? And to me, that's inspiring. So we have this heart that beats, even though we're not telling it to. It just does it by itself. You don't even have to think about it. Your lungs breathe automatically. Your brain processes millions of like signals. Like our brain and our body are like constantly signaling that it's just like, this is an incredible machine that we have. It's just like this completely automated, amazing machine. It even heals itself. It heals cuts. It fights illness. It builds strength, and it just adapts constantly. The weather changes, your body adapts. You almost get in a car accident, your body adapts. You go to sleep, your body adapts. It's amazing, right? Like, so just take a moment to just let that sink in, right? It's incredible. And then forget just our body. Think about the world around us. We live on a planet with oceans, mountains, forests, amazing animals. I just love animals. And it is just so cool that there's so many different kinds. And the birds, like, have you ever thought about how many birds there are? How many insects and how many little critters crawling around that we don't even probably know about yet? It's amazing. It's really amazing. Imagine the sunrise, like how does it even work? And the sunset, right? The season changes and the people that we connect with. When you really pause and just think about it, life itself is a miracle. But when we're living on autopilot, we miss it. We rush through the days, we scroll past the moments, we delay joy for just someday. Like, what? When is someday? You know? And in doing that, we miss some of the most beautiful parts of just being alive. Okay? And I know I'm like going slow and I'm saying this, but I want you to let it sink in. Okay? I know you've had hard times in your life. I know that things are not easy, but look at the miracles around us. Look at the miracle that we are ourselves. Okay? So, when you hear this, and people know this in their brain somewhere, right? So why do we then stay on autopilot? Because living intentionally requires awareness. And do you know what awareness does? It can bring up really uncomfortable feelings. Sometimes autopilot protects us from things like feeling disappointment, grief, old wounds, old stories, old experiences, fear, just fear in general, and fear of change. When we slow down and start paying attention, we may notice that we have unresolved emotions. We have these old memories that are painful, and we have past experiences that really, truly still affect us. Hey, ladies, I'm just going to interrupt for a moment. If you've been saying to yourself, I know I need to strength train, but I just can't stay consistent, or I'm not really sure what to do. Well, I created the Balanced Fit and Free Strength membership for people just like you. We meet live 3 mornings a week on Zoom for a simple and effective workout that helps you progressively get stronger, because random workouts just aren't working. You'll get guidance, accountability, breath work, coaching, and a supportive community of women all working toward feeling stronger physically and mentally. We have live and replay only memberships available. You can check the show notes for the link to learn more. Now back to the show. So this is where many people turn back to autopilot, because feeling those emotions can just be super uncomfortable, and it's easier to just keep a blind eye and move forward and just float through life. Okay? Void, numb, move forward. Okay? And I get it. I've had a really fortunate life. And so I have to say that, I haven't been in extreme situations. So yeah, it might be easier for me to sit here and say, oh, enjoy the miracle of life, because I haven't had true, deep, deep trauma. I've had a lot of little traumas and a lot of things I don't love to think about. But I know that there are people out there that have a lot worse. And so this might be harder for them to really grasp and actually want to do. And I understand that. But most of the people that have the, ability to listen to this podcast and to be scrolling and to have like this life, most of us really do have the ability and should be able to like really flip our perspective on life and look at it a little bit more intentionally. Okay. So even though awareness can feel super uncomfortable at first, it also opens the door to freedom. Okay. Intentional living means making choices that align with your values, being present in your life, like really noticing what's happening in your life and the people in your life, responding to life instead of reacting. Okay, there's a big difference between responding and reacting. Okay, creating a life that feels meaningful. So instead of drifting through life, you start participating in your life, like really participating, really noticing, really living each day fully. Okay. Even if it's a Monday. People hate Mondays for some reason, but I know why. It's because it's usually the first day back to work, right? After a weekend. And most people hate it because they hate their job. They hate what they do. They hate what their life is like. So that's where it's like, start like participating, start noticing what you don't like, start, looking to make some changes. Okay. Anyway, when we start living more intentionally, it's normal for old memories or emotions to surface, like I was saying. This doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. This doesn't mean a bad thing. It just simply means the nervous system is processing things that were pushed deep down inside, okay? And now your body is like, whew, we got some stored emotions and experiences down here in our body. That low back pain that you've lived with, what if it's a stuck emotion or memory? Your headaches, that could be stuck memories and emotions. Or your shoulder and neck tension, probably a lot of emotions and stress. And taking Tylenol and going every day to the chiropractor. I do go to the chiropractor a lot. But it's like trying to find ways to fix it instead of like being like, wait, what is my body actually telling me? Okay. It actually is important to be like, wait, do I actually need medicine to fix this? Or do I actually just need to like acknowledge things in my life and see what happens? Okay. I'll tell you a quick story. My back has been really bothering me for a couple months. And I know this information about like stored emotion and how it can like create tension and pain in your body. And it's really funny. So I've been doing a lot of breath work, a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, a lot of different kind of movement to try to get my back better. And I had a therapy session about a week and a half ago, and something really big came up that I didn't realize was really, really big. And I know this is kind of hard to believe because it kind of sounds not true when I say it, but I know for a fact it worked. The next day I woke up and it was the first day in months that I did not feel my back. And that was that wasn't weeks ago, just like a couple days ago. And I have not had back pain since. And so, yes, did I maybe like stretch better and my back feels better? Possibly, right? But I know that I had this like huge aha moment and kind of put the dot, like worked it out and understand like how one feeling I have and an experience I had, how it all came together. And something about just understanding it as an adult, and I was a young kid at the time when this thing happened, I really think it like released. And truly, my back has not hurt since then. So I'm telling you for real, if you have a chronic pain or an area in your body or some kind of autoimmune disorder or anything going on, really start exploring those emotions instead of hiding them. And then don't just keep taking medicine. Like try to find what is really happening in your life and see if that can help you. Okay. So anyway, back to the scheduled plan here. The goal when we start to have awareness of these emotions and feelings and old experiences, the goal isn't to force those memories or emotions away, right? The goal is to actually recognize them, okay? Recognize them and then tell your body, hey, that was then, but now, right now, I am safe. Because our body, when we have these stored emotions, it just doesn't feel safe. Your nervous system is constantly looking for anything that is going to harm you, okay? So when you have these old memories shoved down into your body because you didn't really want to pay attention to them, your nervous system knows that there's something going on. And so it creates pain. It creates pain and disease. And so it's really important to find a practice that helps you work through these emotions and experiences. Okay, so things like breath work, of course, I think breath work, but you can't just do breath work, right? You need to have some mindfulness around it. You need to maybe have some talk therapy along with it. So to get your very, 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 very best response is to use your brain to talk about what's going on and then use breath work and mindfulness and meditation, because it's all kind of the same, and use that to work on the body. Okay, this is called somatic healing. So we do the talk therapy to bring up what's going on, to make sense of it. And then we drop into the body to help put the body and mind stories together to make sense of it and let it release and leave your body. Okay. It really, really works. Okay. But you have to have that emotional awareness and you can't be on autopilot. You've got to want to make the change. Okay. So when the body feels safe, those old emotional patterns can begin to loosen their grip on your life. And that's so, so important. So before I give you some tips to start living more intentionally, I want to talk about one other thing. Let's talk about living your life according to your core values. Okay. So I just talked a lot about, living on autopilot. I talked about storing your emotions and how when you're living more intentionally, you become more aware of the things that are bothering you. And so most people are afraid of that and they shut back down and go back to autopilot. And then they wake up on their deathbed and say, dang, I wish I would have lived better, So instead of having that happen, how about you right now, today, right now, as you're listening to this, make a pact with yourself that you are going to start really living more intentionally. I hope that you will, okay? But in order to live intentionally, you have to know what matters to you, right? So one of the most powerful ways to move out of autopilot is to understand your core values. Core values are the things that truly matter to you. They guide your decisions, your priorities, and the way you want to show up in the world. So some examples. Now, these are just examples. You have your own. Go with your own. But maybe your values are connecting with people, connecting with God, connecting, whatever, just connection. Freedom. Maybe you want to feel free from your job, from your fear. What do you want to feel free from? Maybe family is your biggest core value, and that's great. Maybe it's just growth. Maybe you want to learn and grow and do more, okay? Adventure. Maybe you just really want to experience as much as you can before you have to leave this earth. Creativity. Are you an artist, a musician, writer? Maybe that's super important to you, and that's where you want to spend your time. Service, okay? Maybe serving our country, serving homeless people, serving people with trauma, serving animals, serving your church. Maybe that's important to you. Health. Maybe your health is at the top of your priority list. It is for me because I will tell you, as a health coach, wellness coach, and somebody who loves health, if your health isn't there, a lot of this other stuff is a little bit hard to enjoy. So may I offer that you put your health at the top of your core values? Hopefully you will. And then finally, what about spirituality? And spirituality can be like a religion type thing, like following like your church, or maybe just spirituality is just knowing that there's like a higher good or a higher being or purpose. And maybe that's just you. You can take spirituality in any format or direction that you want to. But these could just give you some ideas of what your core values are. And I want to say this. A lot of people say their values are the things they think they should say. Like, oh, my kids are my top core value. Great. But your kid is 40. Let them live their life. Okay. I know that sounds kind of brutal, and that's great. I do think, and I'm teasing a little bit because of course my family is a top priority in my life. However, I think when I decided to let go of controlling my now in their 20s kids, do you know how much happier I became? Because when you try to control your kids and they don't do it because you're not living their life, it only hurts you. And then it could hurt the relationship too. And you don't want to push your kids away if they're really a top priority. So I just wanted to say that little side note that don't choose a core value because you want to look good and say the right thing. Choose what really is super important to you, okay? Maybe you have a terrible relationship with your adult children, right? Maybe the best thing you can do is let that go. And that sounds terrible too, as it comes out of my mouth, but it's just true. Or maybe it's not even your kids. Maybe it's like your parents or your family and like cousins or maybe who knows. But my point is choose core values that actually matter to you, not because you want to be like, look good on Instagram, okay? You don't have to tell anybody what your core values are. It's going to show in your actions, all right? So the challenge is that many people really do know their values, but they keep postponing them or only partially live them, okay? Or only partially work towards working on them or doing them, okay? So people will say things like, oh, I'll slow down later. I'll travel someday. Oh, someday. And by the way, I get it. If you have this like plan to go to Italy on this like 14-day amazing trip, because that's my dream trip, maybe you can't afford it right now. So maybe it is a someday thing, but don't just say someday and not plan for it. Start saving money. Start like putting the itinerary together. Start working on it now, even if you can't afford it right now. Start putting the plan together now so that actually has more of a chance of happening. Okay, just throwing that out there. The other things people say is, I'll prioritize my health when things calm down. Okay, they're never going to calm down. I'll start living more fully after the busy season. Okay, and I bet you heard me say one of those and you're like, ooh, I'm guilty of that. Because I am too. I mean, we're humans, by the way, who like to find the easy way out, and that's autopilot. So as a wellness coach, I'm going to just tell you this. This is what I hear a lot. Oh, I'll start eating healthier when work slows down. Okay. Well, when are you going to retire? Oh, about 20 years. So in 20 years, you're going to finally take your nutrition more seriously. Okay. Sounds good. Not really. Another thing I hear is, oh yeah, well, I'll get back to exercising in the summer because I don't like being cold and I just don't like to exercise when I'm cold. I hear that. You would not believe how many times I hear that. Okay. And I'm like, okay. So I call BS on all of that, by the way. It's just, again, we say we are going to prioritize something and we either don't or it's not really a priority. So stop telling yourself you want to do something if you just really don't. Okay. All right. So if we always delay living according to our values, someday can turn into years or even decades. Okay. And maybe that's already happened. Okay. That's definitely happened with me. I definitely, when I hit 50, I was like, holy cow, it is time to really hunker down and do the things I want to do. And, and if you're over 50, you might be like, oh, yeah, I remember thinking that when I was 50, or, oh, you're only 50. But if you're 30, you might think I'm ancient. So it's all relative, right? So right now, no matter what age you are, if you're here, you still have time to start living towards your core values, okay? So intentional living then means asking yourself, am I living in a way that reflects what actually matters to me? Because when your actions and your values line up, life tends to feel more meaningful and more satisfying. So the question becomes, how do we actually step out of autopilot and start living more intentionally? So let's talk about 5 simple ways to start living more intentionally. And they're simple, okay? I'm not going to give you some 10-step morning plan that you have to get up at 4 a.m. to complete. That's just not my style, okay? Great if you want to do that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about little things that you can start doing right now today. Tip number 1, pause during the day. Autopilot thrives when we move too fast. So try creating small moments to pause. For example, just every once in a while stopping and being like, oh my gosh, I'm not even breathing. I'm going to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Right? Just take a moment to recognize, take some deep breaths. Feel how you're actually notice how you're feeling inside. Another thing could be just stepping outside for a moment, just stopping, looking out or going outside, feel the temperature on your skin, look around, let the sun soak in for a moment, get some vitamin D while you're at it, and just be in the moment. This could be 2 minutes or less even, okay? Preferably 5 or more. But if you only have a minute, take that moment, okay? Don't try to squeeze one more task in. Take the moment. Notice how you feel inside. Notice your body. Notice your mind. Take a breath. Take a break, okay? Actually take the break. These little tiny pauses throughout your day can bring you back into the present moment. And that is where we live, okay? We don't live in the past. It's gone, okay? Even 5 minutes ago is gone. It's already gone. And if we're constantly living in the future, we're going to be anxious and a little irritable. So right now is what we have. That's all we know that we have, right this second, okay? So tip number 2, ask yourself better questions. Intentional living starts with awareness. Questions like, what matters most to me right now? Okay, that's kind of talking about the core values. Like, what matters right now? If you were going to die tomorrow, sorry for the morbid question, but if you were going to die tomorrow, what would you want to get done today? Okay, that's going to give you a pretty good idea of what your true core values are. Okay, does this choice align with the life that I want? So what I'm talking about, like, you're going to ask yourself are these choices I'm making right now aligning with the life I even want or who I want to be? Okay. And then another question could be, am I reacting in my life or responding? Reacting is like letting every phone call take you off track, or every task or everything that someone says lets you like get flamed up, or, just like reacting, like answering the phone, doing the next, like blah, 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 and never get anything done because you're being pulled in a million directions. That's kind of reaction. Responding is like, hold on, let me think for a second of what's most important. Let me make a better choice in responding to these things. Okay. All right. These questions can interrupt your autopilot. Okay. What matters most to me? Does my choice align with my life or the life I want? And am I reacting or responding? Tip number 3, reduce mindless distractions. Many people stay on autopilot through constant stimulation. Okay. So that would be like scrolling. Like if you're at the doctor's office, what do? Well, we used to look at magazines, right? Now we just sit and scroll our phone. Look for notifications, just scroll, right? We multitask. Okay, so multitasking, I used to be horrible because I would have like one tab open here, and meanwhile I'd be working on something on a piece of paper over here. Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done when you multitask, right? Our brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So multitasking, scrolling, constant background noise is another thing. Do you always have to have music on? Do you always have to have the TV on? Do you always have to have something noisy in the background? Yeah, that's a sign that you are overstimulated and that you need a pause, okay? If you can't sit in silence by yourself with nothing to do, that's a lot of inner work that needs to happen, okay? Just telling you like it is, okay? So try. My tip was reduce mindless distractions. So try to create small pockets throughout the day of just pure silence. Nothing to do. Try not to think about anything. Just be. Just be in your body. Just be. Okay? And it might be really hard at first. That's okay. It's okay. It's anything that's hard is, anything worth doing is hard. Okay? So this is going to allow your brain to actually process life instead of just reacting to it. Really, really important. It's only important if you want an intentional life and a happy life. If you could care less, you probably have already stopped listening to this, okay? Tip number 4, connect with your body. Your body is always in the present moment. Practices like walking, okay, yoga, strength training, breath work. All of those are a great way to connect with your body. Walking, let's talk about that for a second. You don't have to be like power walking to burn calories. You don't have to be like, I have to go walk. I got to get my steps. That's kind of against the point. What I'm talking about is connect with your body through walking. I just told you a little while ago that my back was hurting. And one of the only ways, this is interesting, one of the only ways it would stop hurting throughout the day is if I went walking. I could stretch, I could do all the exercises, I could lay on my back, I could whatever, but it only felt better after a walk. And not a fast walk. I'm talking I stroll around the neighborhood with the dogs. I let them sniff. I'm not like dragging them, mad at them that they're not walking fast. It's like I just walk. And that connection, I think, was more spiritual and more emotional than I realized. Okay, so walking doesn't have to be about burning calories. Yoga doesn't have to be hardcore. It could just be like a super easy yoga stretch from YouTube. Okay, find a 10-minute yoga stretch. You will thank me later. Okay, any of them will work. There's so many good ones. Strength training is amazing too because it connects your strength with your mind, which increases your confidence, your empowerment, and it makes you feel like a badass. I'm just going to tell you that. It does. Even if you're lifting like 5 pounds and you get done and you kind of feel like your muscles a little plumped up, you're like, ooh, like it feels good. It feels really good. So strength train, connect with your body, like feel the movement. It feels good to make your body burn and work because it makes you feel alive. Okay. If you're just used to numbing yourself and not feeling, It's going to be hard at first to strength train, right? Because it's going to hurt. Like, I think it's a good hurt, but try it anyway, okay? Bring awareness back into your body. When we reconnect with the body, we reconnect with the present moment, okay? Tip number 5. I know this has been a long one. I'm sorry, I'm chatty today. Choose one small intentional action each day, okay? One small intentional action each day. Intentional living doesn't require a huge life overhaul. It can start with one simple choice each day, okay? Maybe it's calling a friend instead of texting. Remember calling? Now it's funny because now it's like you text a friend to make sure they can talk. Whereas back in the day, we would just call, and if someone answered, great. And if they didn't, then they weren't available. Now we're like, hey, can I call you? Hey, let's make an appointment. I'm really bad about that, by the way. If my phone rings, I'm like, what the heck? But also I have my phone on Do Not Disturb all the time because I think I told you in another episode that it actually causes me stress to hear the phone, to hear the ding, the notification, all that. So I've just shut it down. So yeah, so maybe don't call me. If you call me, I will call you back. Okay, but anyway, taking a walk without your phone. Have you ever left the house without your phone? I promise you won't die. I promise you won't die. I mean, hopefully you won't die. I guess I can't promise that, but you will not miss your phone. You might at first, but if you go outside and go for a walk, start like paying attention. Like pay attention to what, like it's spring. It's about spring right now. So maybe you go out and you're watching the flowers grow and the grass. Notice the change in the color of the grass. Notice the clouds in the sky. Feel the temperature on your skin. Look around. Be nosy. Look and see what projects your neighbors are doing. Notice who, leaves their yard junky. Like, do whatever. Like, just look around. Look around. You don't have to be staring at your phone, especially when you're on a walk. You shouldn't be. And you don't have to always be listening to a podcast. But you first want to listen to this one and then turn off your phone and go for your walk. Or if you're walking while listening, that's great. But, do at least a few times a week. Just go be without any noise or distraction. Okay? Eat a meal super slow. Okay? I'm the worst at this, and I'm going to take my own advice, and this is going to be my task today to do. But eating slowly. So when you eat slow, you actually taste the food. Did you know that? Did you know you could do that? You can taste like the different textures and the different flavors. Like see if you can notice the salt or see if you can notice the seasoning. Like maybe you used Italian seasoning in your soup. Actually see if you can taste it. Like see if you can pull out the basil and the rosemary. See if you can notice it, the oregano, the garlic. Like actually taste your food, okay? If you spend time making a meal and then you scarf it down so fast you don't even taste it, that's kind of sad, isn't it? All right, journal for 5 minutes. Maybe just every day have a prompt that says, how am I feeling today? Okay, write it down. How are you feeling today? That's going to bring you into the present moment. That's going to bring you into what you're actually feeling, and that's going to be intentional, okay? If you're not a journaler, then maybe make voice notes or post on social media. People love to put their journal on social media, really. Like maybe every day at whatever time you post on social media how you're feeling. Remember, that's actually how Facebook started. How are you feeling today? Do you remember that? Anyway, small intentional moments create a life that feels more meaningful. And that is what I hope for you. Autopilot helps us survive, but intentional living helps us experience our life. When we slow down and pay attention and become more aware, we start reconnecting with ourselves. And yes, sometimes that awareness brings up emotions, but those emotions are often part of the process of healing and growth. The more we let our body know that it is safe now, the more freedom we create ourselves to move forward. Okay? So ask yourself right now, where in your life might you be living on autopilot? Where are you living on autopilot? Is it work? Is it with your relationships? Is it with your health? What is it? Okay? Just noticing where you're living on autopilot will be the first step towards change, okay? Just that awareness. I will almost always tell you awareness is the first step, okay? And remember, your life isn't happening someday. It's happening right now. And the more present you become, the more of it you get to experience. Thank you for being here. I'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening to the Balanced, Fit, and Free podcast. I hope this episode helped you feel a little more aware, aligned, and supported on your wellness journey. Remember, true health isn't about perfection. It's about living in alignment with yourself and creating a life that feels balanced, grounded, and free. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode, and I will see you next time.